LinkedIn works. It's that easy. If you're a sales professional and you are not leveraging LinkedIn, if you are not socially selling using this business platform, you are missing out. And today's guest is going to teach us exactly why we're missing out and how we can change our approach and start leveraging this platform in order to increase our revenue, increase our sales, be known by more people, but more specifically, be known by the right people. And he knows it because he did it firsthand after he found himself unemployed, looking for new opportunities for revenue and ultimately new opportunities for growth. If you're a business person, a salesperson, an entrepreneur, this right here is an episode that, quite honestly, you can't afford to miss. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. We are in his hometown of Dallas, Texas. We are at Sales Mastery, brought to us by Momentum Builder. If you are not on LinkedIn, you don't know who he is. If you are on LinkedIn, you must be living under a rock if you don't know the name, but he is my friend. He is a first-time TLOP guest, the one, the only, Dan Smokoska. Dan, welcome to TLOP.
Ooh, good to be here.
Yes, I'm excited we finally get to do this. You and I have done webinars together. We've traveled the circuit. We've spoken on the same stages, even done panels together. But for whatever reason, this is the first time the universe has come together for us to do a TLOP episode.
Feels pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And, I did it in the soft intro, but you would have to be living under a rock if, especially for our mortgage friends, if you don't know who Dan is, you must be living under a rock or you're just not on LinkedIn. But what we want to teach you today, and ultimately what we're going to get to, is the power of social selling and how to be leveraging LinkedIn for your benefit. And I'll tell you firsthand, I too once had to dust off my keyboard to jump into LinkedIn. I too had to go and block and remove connections to people who all they wanted to do was recruit me or spam me. However, that wasn't a good enough reason for me not to go all in on LinkedIn. And, because of people like Dan, I now have 30,000 followers on LinkedIn. And it's a great way for me to promote my content. And we're going to talk about that today. Not me. We're talking about you. That's just my own take on why it's so important that they listen to everything that you say today.
Love it.
But before we do that, Dan, if it's okay with you, I want to get to know you. And I want to know you so the audience can get to know you. So in the mortgage space, we know you. But was mortgage always your career, or did you do something prior to mortgage?
I mean, basically mortgage.
Mortgage. Like coming out of school,
thing.
You found yourself in mortgage.
I did some other things. I did some sales stuff. I did some bank stuff. And then I got into the mortgage industry to be a loan officer.
Oh, cool. So you got some street cred. How long were you a loan officer for?
I was a loan officer about 2.5 years.
Okay.
And the story goes, I absolutely hated it.
Every minute of it.
Most every minute. You know what I did enjoy, though? I enjoyed getting the business in the door. And I enjoyed nothing in between. And then I enjoyed the closing table.
Okay. Yeah.
So I liked these parts.
Yeah, but structuring loans, calculating income.
Just dealing with all the ups and downs of borrowers could buy leave their job the day before a closing, or just like the roller coaster ride that it is. I just wasn't in on it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And so, but I did it for a while. And obviously learned a lot, made some good connections, and it kind of what set the rest of my time in the industry, which is now like 15 years. It really gave me credibility as I moved in my career, because I could understand the loan officer side of things. Mm-hmm. Been there, done that. And not everybody knows how to talk to loan officers, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, because ultimately you found yourself running marketing departments for large mortgage companies, yet you brought a different feel to it, because you're like, look, I started in the trenches. I know what it's like. I did the 30 months, which, by the way, the first 2 years are always the hardest, right? They're the most difficult. Those 2 years I don't wish on like my worst enemy, and you at least got to experience them. and then another 6 months before you found yourself helping more people get leads in the door and loans in the door, just as long as you don't have to actually open up a loan origination software, fill out an IRLA, lock a loan, disclose it, sit through pipeline meetings, and pray to God the appraisal comes in on time and at value. Right, that was the part that you didn't like.
The feelings that I had back then just came rushing back as you listed all of those things.
PTSD
from those 2.5 years, man. I'm glad I'm outside of it, but still inside the mortgage biz.
Yes. So when you were running marketing, who were you running marketing for? What types of companies? Were they brokers? Were they bankers?
No, they were retail.
Retail.
They were retail shops.
Can you name them? Are they on your LinkedIn profile? If I go and look you up,
they're on the LinkedIn profile.
Who are they?
I mean, there was a company called Atlanta Mortgage out of Wisconsin.
Yes. Okay.
That was my last one. And then there was in Montana, I worked for a company called Man Mortgage. I worked for Prime Lending. I worked for...
Hey, these are all big names. Like anyone who's been around for a minute, like these are all big national lenders. Yeah.
And so it was, every stop was a little bit different. There were some few others in there somewhere. But overall, it was just, retail shops, really good people. Really committed to building good teams to help support the loan officers. They just kind of we're old school in some ways. And so whenever I came in to take over some of these things, let's just try to do things differently and try to actually turn it into not just marketing, but how can we get revenue in the door? Because that's ultimately what I care about.
Which I appreciate. That's always been my frustration with most marketing departments. And it's not their fault. I think it's actually the senior leadership's fault, who probably doesn't understand sales themselves, but they're like, oh, I need a marketing department. I'm like, well, you have a flyer factory, and we don't want a flyer factory because I want a marketing department that does what you just did. I want to be able to attach what they're doing to revenue. And unfortunately, a lot of times marketing departments take direction from loan officers, but loan officers don't necessarily know. They just know, oh, I want this. Well, why do you want it? Well, because someone asked me for it. Why they want it? I don't know. Well, did you ask them why they want it? No, but they want it, so let's give it to them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, so we spend all this money and all this time on things that don't actually bring in revenue. If anything, it may make somebody feel good about themselves or it put a smile on my face, but unfortunately smiles don't pay the bills.
They don't. They're just boxes to be checked is what I kind of realize. It's a recruiting pitch to say you have a marketing team that will do things for you, but it's just never moved the needle. And so my kind of mission from kind of getting there and seeing things and how really antiquated everything was on the marketing side and how it was more just a fulfillment center. Yeah. I was like, all right, we could do this way better.
And that's probably one of the biggest things that plagues our industry. Now, unless you're consumer direct, those consumer direct marketing departments, no, they're badass. Yeah. It's kind of like I used to tell my old boss, I was like, look, if we want a great marketing department, why don't you go outside of mortgage and go into timeshare? Because those men and women know how to make the phone ring.
Yeah.
And then wouldn't it be amazing to work for a retail lender who actually knew how to make the phone ring? And then when the phone rang, it got pushed down to the branch or got pushed down to the originator. But unfortunately, yes, most marketing departments became fulfillment centers. But this isn't a show on marketing departments. This is actually a show on LinkedIn specifically because you have a very unique story that I think more people need to hear. And then obviously you have a skill set that I want you to be able to share some of your tips, tricks, and best practices so that the viewer or the listener will be able to take away a few really good lessons that they're going to be better because they tuned into you and I today. But I think what people should know about you is that in 2022, you saw the writing on the wall. The companies that you were working for were failing or going out of business or being purchased, right? Depending on which companies they were and what the better spin of the story was.
Yeah.
And you saw that your colleagues were being laid off and you saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And you had to turn to LinkedIn as a way to build a personal brand and as a way to basically create what you told me was a
insurance policy.
Yeah. But let me ask you this first question. I mean, as a marketing person, my assumption is, Dan, you probably were already all in on social media.
Yeah, that is an assumption. That's a common assumption. In fact, people still think I'm a social media guy. And what I tell people is that I'm not a social media guy. In fact, I was the opposite of that. I hated social media. I didn't have a Facebook profile.
This is like 2022.
2022.
Yeah, we're not talking about 2002 or 2012. We're talking like 3-4 years ago.
We're talking 3-4 years ago. I didn't have a Facebook profile. I hated Facebook. There's so much like just drama I thought on there and just like wasted my time.
And there is, by the way.
And there is. But there's good to it. You know,
Yes.
there's good to it as well.
Well,
And
it's a
good for
networking
business.
platform. Yeah, it's great for
Exactly.
business.
So you just got to know, how to use it and how it benefits you. And I just didn't care at that point. Instagram, I had a Instagram, but I had it like private account. I only had like my friends and family, and so like I didn't. I'd only hover around like 100 people.
Okay.
And then I would get rid of people easily, right?
Yeah.
So, and then LinkedIn was just a resume for me. I made a lot of good connections on there from like recruiters. I would always take my rule is if a recruiter pops in my inbox and they say, hey, I have a job or I have a opportunity position you might be interested in, I always take the meeting every time.
Okay.
And that's done really well for me.
Okay.
Had some good opportunities throughout. So I liked LinkedIn. I had a good perspective of it compared to the other platforms.
But were you getting on it daily? Were you
No.
posting daily? Were you sending DMs?
No, it was just
none of that.
It was just
Okay.
a resume that I set back and would just check my DMs to see if anybody messaged me, and then I'd get off and do work.
Because today, and where we're going with this, y'all, is today Dan's Mr. LinkedIn. Like I just hired Blake. Shout out to Blake Anderson. He's T-Lop's like
go,
full-time, all-in account manager. We see him as someone who can actually run sales for our entire company. And first thing that I said to Blake is, hey, how much are you leveraging LinkedIn? How well do you know it? He's like, I'm not leveraging enough, and I know it decently, but I'm not like an expert. I said, perfect. I'm going to put you through a 4-week cohort. When you walk out, you're going to know LinkedIn. And I did so because Dan's teaching it, and it's something that you've been doing for the past year. But what's interesting is that you had to learn it out of necessity,
Yeah.
and you had to master it out of necessity. So I want people to know, like, we're tuning in right now to Mr. LinkedIn, and he's going to tell his story. And then at the end of the story, he's going to share with us 2 or 3 things that we can be doing right now to optimize and actually turn LinkedIn into revenue. But let's get into that story. So I've already teased there's 22. Mortgage industry has turned upside down, right? Mortgage industry is losing money. I think that was the beginning of an 8-quarter streak of the industry as a whole losing money. You see the people that you're working with being laid off. Companies are cutting costs. Some companies are going under. Others are being absorbed or consolidated or acquired. And you're freaking out because you have a wife, you have 2 kids, you got bills to pay, and you're seeing the writing on the wall, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not only the writing on the wall. It is having, I was in an executive position, so I was in, conversations with the CEO and the CFO, and so I was pretty informed on where we were as a company.
Okay.
And we were positioned really well.
Okay.
Comparatively, right? It was still tough, but we had the things we needed to survive. What we didn't have was we did not have a leadership that was like, let's weather this. I'm down for it. He was getting older. He was like, I'm ready to retire. I don't want to go through this stuff. But before that even happened, I just knew the conversations that we were having and kind of having conversations with other executives at other companies and just really seeing kind of like a little bit sooner than maybe some other people would. And then, yes, I had to make layoffs. And you kind of start with people that you're okay with, getting rid of.
Yes.
So,
If there's 6 people in the room,
Yep.
and you have to get rid of 2, there's going to be 2 that are probably the ones that aren't necessarily the most productive.
100%.
And those tend to be the easier. But then as
Easier.
you get
Yep.
easier, yeah, it's
Yep.
never easy.
Never
it's
easy.
never. These are human beings, right?
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
never
100%.
easy. Yeah. Okay.
100%. But then you get then you have to go and say, this rock star that I would work with for the rest of my life, you got to let them go. And so those are really tough. And so the reason I say that though is because I had a heads up and like I was just keeping track of where we were going, and it was just such a difficult market. I was like, this is the first time that I could lose my job, even though I'm absolutely crushing this thing.
Yeah.
We're doing great. And so I was like, if this does end, then I want to have a backup plan. And my thought process was, everyone that I've worked with knows and likes me. But that's limited to the small sliver of mortgage companies within the U.S. If I lose my job and I need to get another job, I'm going to have to somehow expand my reach, expand my connections and network, and I got to do this fast. I got to do this within like a few months, right? And so that's what really got me thinking. And so then I was like, all right, LinkedIn seems like the better option. I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
And my idea was build a personal brand, network with all the mortgage people I can, and then just get out there and just show these people that I know what I'm talking about and I can do this stuff.
So you did this for 6 months before ultimately that day did happen, right? So ultimately your company gets acquired. There isn't room for you. So you find yourself unemployed. And within those 6 months, what did you find the minute you didn't have employment, you weren't bringing in income to the household? Was it at that point pretty easy to put yourself out there and to find work? Or if you did find work, how did you find work?
Yeah.
So
Did you see
I was done with the company that I was at the end, like December 31st, 2022. So
Okay.
January 1st was my, new journey.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. And so I took...
You're all of a sudden you're forced into being a consultant,
Exactly.
whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to take 2 months off and just like figure out what I want to do.
No way.
And
Okay.
so I was still doing the LinkedIn thing. What I did in January, I was like, I'm going to start a newsletter. I don't know if anybody will read it. Right. So I started my like a mortgage marketing newsletter for loan officers. And so it's like, that'll at least be fun to do.
And did you do that only on LinkedIn, or did you?
No, this was just
Like you did it like through MailChimp?
email.
Email,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, an email platform to get people signed up, and I had no clue if it was going to turn into anything, but
Did it?
It did.
Okay.
I mean, we're over like 14,000 subscribers now.
Wow. Okay.
And so it's been that was a really positive thing too. But what I did was I was like, I'm gonna take 2 months off, figure out what's going on, and then I like just went all in on LinkedIn. So just like every day was just on there, writing content, DMing people, engaging with people, meeting people on Zoom calls, all of the things. And but the change for me was like, I want to have like the ability to like kind of at whatever level I can control my future.
Yes.
I don't want the market to come in here and just absolutely tear everything down, and then I'm like lost for a job, or like an owner like decides they want to sell it, so then it's like, you know what I mean? I'm at the mercy of other people's decisions. So I was like, this LinkedIn thing is actually starting to work. I'm getting people that are not just responding to me, but actually like seeking me out and saying, I need your help.
Yeah. Well, you had people that were like ultimately hiring you to come in and do like project work, consulting work, right? With after those 2 months of you taking off,
Yep.
right? And there were probably companies who needed some help in their marketing department, and that was your skill set, and that was your experience.
Yeah.
But you're not doing that these days, are you?
No.
No. Like what do you do these days? Because here we
Yeah.
are. Fast forward, we are 2.5, almost 3 years removed from January 1st of 2023.
Yeah.
Right. So like this Dan that's sitting here with me is way different than the Dan 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So obviously you poured yourself into LinkedIn and it worked.
Yeah.
Right. And you poured in because it is a necessity. It forced you to, but you chose that path, right? You chose, you could have chose a different path. You could have gone to a headhunter or gone door knocking. You're like, nope, I'm going to go network online. I'm going to go sell myself socially, and I'm using LinkedIn as my platform. And because you put so much time in posting, which you call creating content, DMing, those DMs probably led you to having Zoom meetings with people. You're commenting, you're sending connection requests, so you're expanding your network. You're engaging in people's content. They're now seeing your content because you're writing every day, which all led us to, what are you doing these days?
Yeah, so my mission, like, it's been this way for a while, but it's been kind of a journey on what it actually looks like. But I just think that mortgage marketing and sales, that combination of both has just been so bad for so many years, and I think that there are real ways that we can change like the current state of these like social media platforms that we don't utilize very well, and we're more focused on these like in-person things instead of getting online. mainly because of fear or lack of knowledge. And so I just feel like there's a better way to do things. And so that's what I've been up to. So I've been like, building coaching platforms and just teaching people how to do it themselves, working with executives at mortgage companies for like, helping them and their personal brand to be able to get in and grab attention and put their brand on the map. Like everything is about getting the person or the company that I work with the maximum amount of exposure so that they are known and trusted.
Okay, so would you call yourself a personal brand expert these days? Like, do you like that? Do you prefer someone saying, like, if I were to introduce you, I'm like, oh, you got to meet my boy Dan.
Yeah.
This guy, because I will tell you, but this guy crushes it on LinkedIn, and if you want to learn how to turn your LinkedIn into a couple $100,000 a year of incremental revenue, you got to meet Dan. But as you and I have our friend conversations when the cameras are turned off, like I hear a lot of personal brand. I heard a lot about social selling. Your company is called Win Social, which is crazy coming from a guy that 3 years ago was like anti-social media.
Yeah,
anti-social media. But when the rubber met the road and push came to shove, you turn to this as a way. It's almost like a survivalist instinct to grow your network, connect with more people, because at the end of the day, you were looking for a paycheck, right? Like that was that was what you wanted. You got way more than what you wanted, though, I think.
Yeah. So here's the difference. I like this direction, because what we're saying is, before I got on LinkedIn and took it seriously,
That's true.
I did social media, and I thought of social media just like everybody else does. So you get on here and you scroll and you consume stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's going to have like entertaining videos, or it's going to have like drama in some way. I wasn't using it for business anyway. I didn't know how it would impact my business or help me. And so what happened was a change in thought. And so what I learned, and why I'm just like obsessed with it now, is that when I get out of like consumer mode and like just like scrolling to enjoy it, when I get into like, I'm going to be strategic in this, and I tell people all the time, like, LinkedIn is a gold mine.
Yeah, that's right.
If you know how to tap into that gold, you will be set. You will have more business than you know what to do with, and you'll have more leads coming in, and those leads are all going to be warm, not cold. It's the most like, I tell this to people too. I'm like, it's like when you hear somebody take a drug and they get hooked right away. So my first experience on LinkedIn, where I had somebody reach out to me and they were like, dude, I have been following you for the last 6 months. I love what you're doing for this industry. I love your content. It's so helpful. I want to work with you. And the crazy part was, I had no clue this person existed.
Yeah. So
no clue. And so as soon as that happened, that was my drug moment where I was like, dude, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I'm hooked, because it was such a better way to do sales.
So then walk us through this, because you learned it through the old-fashioned school, Hard Knocks. You got out there, you got busy, you learned as you grew, right? You made tweaks and adjustments based on what worked and what didn't work. But what are you coaching today, right? Whether it's an executive who's reaching out to you and says, look, my team's telling me I need to be the face of the organization. I need to have a personal brand. I don't want to become TikTok famous, and nobody does, by the way. Very few of us do, at least. But I do want to be known, all the way down to the young originator who is like, Dan, I need help getting realtors to accept meetings with me so that I can get them to know, like, and trust me. If they know, like, and trust me, they'll end up referring me. What are, if I said, Dan, what are 5 things people should be doing, whether it's the CEO, whether it's the rookie LO, and everyone in between? What are 5 things that you could share with us today that if they just started doing it, it would move the needle and it would change their perception of exactly how social selling is supposed to work?
The first one's a little bit more of a challenge, but the first one is really spend some time understanding who your ideal audience is. So know who you're talking to, know who you're going after. A lot of times in the mortgage industry, a mortgage product is so there's a general mortgage is something that anybody can, most anybody can get, right? So like you're over 18, you have some money, your credit's fine, you can get a mortgage. And so we kind of lump all of this into really not a specific message outside of, you need a home loan, we can help you.
I'm with the doubt.
And that message is not the best message, right? Because everybody within the home buying process has a different reason they're doing it. And so I usually use the example of a first-time home buyer compared to somebody who does like 5 investment properties every year. They're completely different.
Yeah, like the psychology, the approach.
Exactly.
Yes.
Their fears, their concerns are drastically different. And so if you're speaking to just this general sense and they find somebody who's speaking to their pain points, they're going to go with the person who speaks to their pain points. And so what I say is, like, understand it, just do the work, figure out who your ideal customer is, and then take your LinkedIn profile and like throw it away as is, because it's no longer your online resume. It is
Say
your
that again.
sales page.
Your LinkedIn profile is no longer your resume.
No longer your resume.
And what is it?
It is now your sales page.
Your sales page. Yeah.
And
So if you know who your avatar is, who is your ideal client, whether it's investor, first-time home buyer, people who specialize in luxury, whatever the case is, that's your profile. Your profile has to speak to those people.
And
okay.
It's the exact opposite. It's what we do with our profiles right now is we say me, 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 me. It's all about like, here I am. Here's my fancy title. Here's my confusing banner. All these things. A sales page focuses on the customer, not on you. And so we are speaking now to that audience that we've determined is our ideal audience.
Okay.
Right? So it's not like, here's who I am, here's why I'm awesome. Let me speak in the third person in the about section and use all my resume language. It's now about who do I help, how do I help them, and why should they trust me?
Love it. So, okay, so there's tip number 1. Tip number 2.
Tip number 2, there's a lot of people who don't know how to do something, and it makes them very nervous to start. And so just have that Nike mentality and just do it.
Yeah.
It's okay to be nervous about it. It's okay to think you're going to suck at it. You will suck at it at the beginning. But here's a fun fact for anybody seeing this. When I first started, I was nervous too, but I just did it. And what I usually have found is that the best things that have happened to me, the most success that I've had, have come on the other side of fear. And so don't let fear be like this deterrent. Let it be a signal that there's good things there, and like just go for it. So if you do it, point 2 is like be consistent.
Yes.
Like just start posting.
Yes, stick to it. Do it daily, every day, once
daily.
a day, every single day. By the way, that is how you look. That is how you sound. We love you for it. And you're not making content for you. You're making content for us.
Yep.
So speak to us.
Yep.
Perfection's the enemy of done. It's not going to be perfect. Guess what? In 3 years, it still won't be perfect.
Right.
In 3 years, it'll be way better than it was after year 2, which is way better than it was after year 1. Okay, so that's tip number 2. What's tip number 3?
I mean, I honestly, it's like if you can speed up your level of learning, do it, right? And so, like, that's why I had that cohort that I do, so that you can take like 3 years and get it in like 30 days instead.
Correct. Yes. Shorten that learning curve.
Shorten the learning curve and find somebody who's done it. It doesn't have to be me. There's a lot of people who know how to do it and how to utilize it. But go find those people who've done it and done it well, and then just learn how they're doing things so that you can then go in and mimic what they do in the context that you're in.
Perfect. Tip number 4.
Tip number 4. So a lot of people think that social media, LinkedIn, etc., is just about creating content. And the reality is that there's this whole other side of LinkedIn, something you know well. And that is, we have to understand that we're just not here to like create content and leave. We're here to build relationships. And you do that the same way you would do it in person. Like we're at Sales Mastery right now. We're having conversations with people. We're not pitching them on anything. We're just like getting to know them and doing the doing the thing where we build relationships. And so engaging on people's content, which is like liking and commenting, sharing, going into the DMs and saying, hey, that was an incredible post, appreciate it. Not pitching, but just like supporting. If you were to say, Dan, do I need to do content or do I need to do engagement? Like, which one's more important? I would say the engagement piece.
Yeah.
if you're gonna pick between one. So if you're scared of content, you want to ease into that. Okay, we'll go after it with the engagement side of things, because that's where you're building relationships.
Yet so many people, me included, we post and ghost.
Yep.
We post and ghost, and it's on my agenda item. It's going to be a part of my 2026 business plan. Like, I need to do a better job of not ghosting. But nonetheless, that's for maybe a sidebar. You and I having a steak dinner here in Texas. Number 5, last one, last freebie that you can maybe share with the audience.
Yeah, this is the foundation of everything that I have found to be true, and the things that I teach and help other people do is that the way that social media works, and the reason it's so successful, is because it taps into the psychological principle called the familiarity bias. People hear me talk about this a lot, but it makes a lot of sense when you hear it. So this like principle is basically says that the more that someone sees you, the more that person trusts you. So they see you consistently over time. That trust, without them even knowing it, that trust builds and builds. And that piece is like such a powerful element of being successful with social selling. It's what gets people to DM you instead of you DM them. I give the example of, like, if you think of, it's like famous people, this is what they're tapping into. So you think of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who was voted like one of the most popular men on the planet, or the most popular man on the planet a few years back. If we were to see him walk in here right now, most all of us would go up to him and be like, "Dude, Rock, what's up, man?" And he'd be like, "I didn't know you existed." He doesn't know we exist. We feel like we know the guy, and that's because of the familiarity bias, and that's why he's endorsing, products, and that's why he's the face of different things, because we have a trust towards this guy, even though we don't know him, because we see him so much. And so what I tell people is, like, I don't want you to be the most popular person on the planet, but just go be famous in your little corner slice of the internet. And when people recognize you and they see your face over and over again, and there's a decision to go with a lender or a sales rep who they've never met or seen in their life, or somebody they've seen consistently for the last 6 months, it's an easy decision because that's already baked in.
Dan, this is absolute gold. If people want to follow you, because unfortunately we're going to have to wrap it up. I think they're playing our intro music for the next segment. I can hear some Lee Greenwood in the background here.
Yeah.
God bless the USA if you guys are picking it up in your car or watching this on YouTube. If people want to follow you, what's the best way?
Best way is LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
In fact, I would say just
Dan Smokoska.
Dan Smokoska, and I would say just what I would do, or encourage you to do, is go in, press the connect button, not the follow button, but get that connect button in. I'll accept it, and then send me a DM and just be like, "Hey, I heard you on the podcast."
Oh, I love that. I heard you on T-Lop.
You on T-Lop, and then I will send anybody who does that, I will send them some resources for free.
Oh, I freaking love that. Y'all, this is gold. I don't know if you know exactly what type of, like, those 5 nuggets right there, he could probably sell that for $250 on a webinar and put 1,000 people on that webinar just for those 5 nuggets. Dan, I am privileged to call you a friend. We're colleagues here in the speaking circuit and in the coaching world. I freaking love all parts about you, especially what you're doing for our industry, and hopefully not just mortgage, but other business entities, other business professionals. Y'all, check him out. Like, go on LinkedIn, do exactly what I told you to do. Connect with him, send him that message, reference this podcast, get your free resources. And remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want to see a change in your business, you have to change your approach. Dan's way works. Probably not the only way, but it's a way that we know works. If you follow it, you can be the change that you desire. He's Dan Smokoska. I'm Dustin Owen. You've just tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast. Look, if you tuned in for the first time, we thank you. Make sure if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, give us a 5-star review. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, because maybe you're a listener and not a viewer, make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe, because there's more than just the podcast on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has tons of additional content, free sales training, free coaching, and other episodes of different types of content that isn't just the Loan Officer Podcast. Unfortunately, our time is up. He's Dan, I'm Dio. That's all the time we have for you today, but we look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.